I think the great joy of YouTube is the comment section and encouraging that to be as broad as possible and not being censorious. And so thank you very much to a person called Neglecting Existence. And I'm so sorry that earlier I assumed someone was a man when in fact they were not. They were a woman, and that's so inappropriate of me, really. Anyway, but Neglecting Existence says, speaking of racism, one wonders if you wouldn't be so hard on Braverman if she were white. I don't think Braverman's colour matters at all, and that's rather the point. Someone is racist if instead of looking at individuals as individuals, they discriminate against and identify a group through race alone. The language Braverman used was when she was talking at the dispatch box, was interpreted and has been used to besmirch all Albanians in our country, however they came here. And despite some of them paying taxes and contributing, or most of them paying taxes and contributing in a variety of ways to our society. Beyond that, Braverman admitted herself on the 23rd of November that there are no legal routes very often to our country, and that the only legitimate way to claim asylum is to come here by boat and to take that opportunity, and then to claim asylum once one's got here. You know, that is Suella Braverman. That is what she said. Now, there was a person who spoke on LBC the other day called Vera, who has been here since the mid-1990s. And she is legitimately here. She has British citizenship, and yet, because of the racism which is being promoted by the government, she has found herself victimized for her Albanian descent and told, why don't you go back home? And David Davis is the person who seems to have put pressure on Suella Braverman, as if anybody would need to put pressure on Suella Braverman. She dreams of racist solutions. She dreams of sending people to Rwanda. I can't think of anybody in the government who dreams of other people's misery, but there we are. That is Suella Braverman by her own admission. And anyway, David Davis apparently has put pressure on her, along with 49 other Conservative MPs, to pass emergency legislation to make Albania a safe country. In other words, part of this white list. But the white list is based on the assumption that we are part of Europe. There is no... I think this will be challenged in the courts and will be thrown out, and it should be. And I don't understand why our craven newspapers are not reporting on this. Neither are they reporting on the various other issues, that it was a British court which said that refugees and migrants have 54 days in transit before they can be regarded as travelling from a safe country. So if they spent 54 days travelling through France, they could still be regarded as having come directly from their unsafe origin, wherever that may be. And more than that, the Spanish ruling made it clear that even with the white list, it was possible for one European country to take an asylum seeker from another European country. And the whitelist was entirely dependent on the Dublin Protocol. We are no longer part of that. So inventing a whitelist at this particular moment, I think it will have legal challenges, but even if it doesn't, it's morally reprehensible. And Tim Lawton is the person who made it very clear that there are no safe routes from many countries, including parts of Africa. And Suella Braverman admitted that the only way to get here is by dinghy, and then to claim asylum when somebody gets to Dover. This is wrong. Our country should have set up asylum centres in France and in other places so that people do not have to risk their lives coming across the channel, because we are too stupid and too ill-prepared to have arranged this as part of our Brexit exit. stupidity, and an obsession with, quote, trade. I have nothing but contempt for the slack Alice way in which Brexit was pursued once Brexit was decided. We need to take the initiative. We need to play the hand that we've been dealt, and we didn't. Mrs. May stumbled around as if she was looking for a suitable wheat field in which to hide rather than run through, and Boris blustered through with negotiations that were not complete. And so we're left with the Northern Ireland Protocol, which actually Chris Heaton Harris looked very, very, very certain to sort out until Liz Truss scuppered that deal because of her own self-indulgence and self-importance. It is one Prime Minister after another that is more obsessed with their own office than they are with doing good. Now, I have some faith that Rishi Sunak is not part of that number, but he's running out of time to demonstrate that he has the right credentials to do the job. We are sorely in need of a Prime Minister with oversight and vision for the country, rather than how to line his or her own pockets when they're out of office. And meanwhile, we're saturated with news about Matt Hancock. I despair about our political classes. Not all Albanians are criminals, says Vera in the LBC interview. Well, Albania is and is not a safe country, she says, but it is a safe country because there is no war going on, but there is a lot of violence there, and there is trafficking, and there is certainly threats from one group to another. There are legitimate reasons for people trying to flee from Albania, and Edi Rama, the Prime Minister of Albania, has done his best to appeal to various Home Secretaries over the years, starting with Mrs. May. And only, I think, 2 days ago, he was talking directly to Rishi Sunak, and I hope Rishi Sunak listened. Edi Rama, I think, is a person that the government could do a deal with, and that deal should really involve opening up a consulate or opening up a visa centre in the north of Albania, so that there is a legitimate and clear route for people who want to contribute something to our country and can. And my experience is Albania is a very healthy and open country, and the people who live there, and who some of whom have moved here, are very welcome, opening and honest individuals. And the fact that there happen to be a few gangs and a few criminals, well, there are a few gangs and a few criminals in Britain as well, and in most other countries. That's why we have prisons. So this tiring of a single nation is racist. There is no other word to describe it. It is wrong. It needs to stop. And the fact that it's being promoted by a government minister is reprehensible, and I think demands a public apology, not only from that minister, but also from the Speaker for allowing it. Shame.